Hello, friends, and thank you as always for visiting the Legend Sports Universe YouTube channel, Legend Sports Universe, where legends play forever. Thank you for tuning in to this 7th episode of the Stuff of Legends podcast, where I try, with varying degrees of success, I'm certain, to tie the happenings in my Legend Sports Universe creation with real-life sports and sports history. Because at its core, the sports simulation gaming genre is rooted in sports history. History was made this past week in the Legend Sports Universe as we crowned the second Legend Sports Universe Football League champions with a thrilling Legends Bowl. And history was made within the ongoing Legend Sports Universe Basketball Association Conference semifinals, which saw the first comeback from a 3-0 deficit in basketball history, either here or in real life. We'll get to those events while also heading back into the shop for our Shop Talk segment, which, with the LSUFL's second season complete and the off-season pending, I'll build off last week's discussion of using artificial intelligence to build solo gaming trade and draft frameworks for AI general managers with a discussion of how I go about handling the rookie drafts themselves within the LSU framework in relation to each franchise's master pools. In the aftermath of Legends Bowl 2's high drama conclusion, we'll hitch that wagon to our Drama in Real Life segment, which returns after a 1-week hiatus, as we tie what happened in the LSU with happenings in Super Bowl and NFL playoff history. So grab your beverage of choice, pull up a chair, say hi, and let's start our half-hour journey together with this week's trip across the universe. We open up with the culmination of an exciting year 2 of the Legend Sports Universe Football League that ended as it should have, with each conference's number 1 seed, the Buffalo Bills, the league's best team after a 13-1 regular season mark, representing the AFC against the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles, the only 10-win team in the conference, who entered fully embracing their good health as good fortune after losing Jalen Hurts and Reggie White in last year's NFC Championship game loss against the 49ers in San Francisco. Opening drive, Eagles ball 2nd and 4 from their 44, and LaShawn McCoy, a sensational season for him, leading the Eagles' league best rushing attack. But McCoy leaves it on the ground here. Matt Milano forces the fumble, Jordan Poyer falls on it, and the Bills start in Eagles territory. Philly's defense would come through in a big way, though, and the Bills would be turned aside with a 3-and-out to avert the early crisis. Buffalo's second drive would be even shorter, but far more rewarding. The league's leading rusher, O.J. Simpson, on a draw following a high snap that was corralled nicely by Joe Ferguson, and the juice is loose. 1 juke, 2 juke, red juke, blue juke, and Simpson the Cat pulls a touchdown out of his hat. 70 yards for the score, and the Bills, in explosive fashion, take a 7-0 lead early in the first quarter. Ensuing drive, and the Eagles are on the move, 1st and 10 from the Buffalo 39, and Hurts, with the RPO left side, brought down for a loss of 2, but a bigger loss for Philadelphia, as Hurts would exit the game with an injury. He'd be tended to on the sideline, but, at least for the moment, this would be Carson Wentz's team to carry through Legends Bowl 2. The Eagles' drive would stall out, and they'd get nothing out of it except the misery of the Hurts injury. 3rd and goal for Buffalo, a fake to OJ, and Ferguson keeps it, sees a hole, and finds his way into the end zone, the same play they used for the final minute score to rally in the divisional playoff against the Bengals. And after a Scott Norwood extra point, the Bills would close out quarter number 1, up 14-0. Second quarter, a little over 7 minutes remaining. Eagles into Buffalo territory, but this dump off to McCoy goes nowhere, and you can see McCoy after the play saying we need to get down the field. Wentz completed several short passes, but nothing that stretched the Bills' defense, and the Eagles would stall throughout the remainder of the first half. Buffalo would enter the tunnel holding that 14-0 lead at the half. opening drive of the second half, and the Bills would stretch their lead with this 31-yard Scott Norwood field goal to increase the gap to 17-0. Buffalo in complete control here of Legends Bowl 2. When the Eagles offense would retake the field, Jalen Hurts would be back at the helm, taped and with the weight of a 17-point deficit on his shoulders. A little inside 6 minutes left in the third, Hurts takes off and takes a shot, striking fear into many an Eagles fan's heart. He gets up fine, but is short by a yard, and the Eagles would punt it away. The clock would turn to quarter number 4, still 17-0 Buffalo, and the Eagles running short on time. After a 29-yard strike from Hurts to Nelson Aguilar, who had a terrific game, Wilbert Montgomery would fight his way into the end zone for the score in quick, efficient fashion. 6 plays, 78 yards, 2:45 off the clock, and with 12:10 remaining, it was now 17-7, and the game was back on. Philly's defense would come through, and Hurts would get back to work. 4th and 1 from the Bills' 40. Kicker Sam Baker doesn't have anywhere near the leg for that, so the Eagles would go for it, and it's McCoy up the middle for the first down to keep the drive alive with 9 minutes left. That would lead to this. 1st and goal from the 5, and it's Hurts who takes off, sees daylight, and with Bruce Smith in pursuit, Hurts steps on the gas and dives into the end zone to make it a 3-point game with 5:44 remaining after the extra point. 13 plays, 61 yards in 5.5 minutes, and it's been a whole new Eagles offense since Hurts' return at the half. Eagles would get it back with 2:19 remaining, down by 3 against the league's number 3 defense. 3rd and 10 from their own 45, now a minute left, play action. Hurts doesn't see anything that he likes and he takes off. He needs 10. He gets 11. Jalen Hurts trying to will the Eagles to a championship. Still 3rd and 2 now. 1 timeout remaining at the Bills' 36. A 53-yard field goal attempt from here would still be outside Sam Baker's range. But Hurts finds Mike Quick, who had been contained all day by the Bills' secondary. 13 yards from Hurts over the middle, and with 5 ticks left on the clock, it would be Baker for the game-tying, overtime-sending kick in a furious fourth-quarter comeback by the Eagles. After Sean McDermott would burn a timeout to ice him, Baker would line up 40 yards, inside his range now, and he would miss the kick. What would have been a legendary comeback, a football Willis Reed moment from Jalen Hurts, who was exquisite after returning, goes for naught, and the Buffalo Bills win a championship on someone else's missed kick. And they are the Legends Bowl champions in year 2 of the LSUFL. To the hardwood we go. LSUBA Conference Semifinals, and we start with the defending champs, the Boston Celtics, a step back this year but formidable nonetheless, taken 7 games by the tough Sixers squad in a grueling series in round 1, while the Knicks dispatched of the Bulls in 5. And that difference reared its head early in this series. 134-108, 111-98, 131-123 in overtime, all in favor of the Knicks. Willis Reed was tremendous, 44 points in Game 3, after 30 and 25 in Games 1 and 2 respectively. You aren't going to see 3 games like that against Bill Russell very frequently. The result? A 3-0 Knicks series lead. The Celtics rebounded in a must-win Game 4 and were ahead late, but afterward, their eventual win was not what anyone wanted to talk about. They wanted to talk about this exchange. Russell had been unable to assert his physical dominance to this point, but he did so here in emphatic fashion. Reed would not only exit the game, but by the end of the night, he'd be diagnosed with a broken rib and a partially collapsed lung at a nearby hospital, and Reed was done for the series. No heroic walk out of the tunnel was coming. and neither was a Knicks victory. The Boston Celtics won 4 straight to come back from a 3-0 series deficit and win the Eastern Conference semifinal, taking down the #1 seed and taking out their big man in the process. Russell maintained the two were fighting for position as they had all series, and to be fair to Russell, Reed certainly seemed to be giving as good as he got. But away from the play, the viciousness of this encounter and the devastation of the result had the Knicks and their fans seeing red after the series was complete. But the Celtics move on, and they'll do so against the Atlanta Hawks, one of the league's most exciting and well-balanced teams. Dominique Wilkins remains a force, and Bob Pettit continues to quietly torch opponents on a nightly basis. And in the middle, Dikembe Mutombo is next in line to go to war with Russell in what should be another physical encounter. Atlanta rolled over an Orlando Magic squad that decimated the Miami Heat in round 1. Tracy McGrady was hurt in the Magic's only win in Game 3, and the Hawks finished Orlando off in 5 games. Now, they get a Celtics squad that has gone 7 games twice already, and Atlanta's fast pace could wear Boston down as long as the Hawks can execute. Game 1 will be huge in this one. In the Western half, the Seattle Supersonics got one, but that was all, as the league's top team, the Los Angeles Lakers, rolled on with a series win in 5 games, punching their ticket to the Western Conference Finals. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Lakers' standout rookie, had a terrific series, and Magic Johnson and Jerry West continued to set the pace for the league's pace setters. The speculated about Western Conference Finals showdown between the Lakers and Utah Jazz was blown to pieces, though, by Hakeem Olajuwon and the Houston Rockets, who get a second finals crack at the Lakers after taking down Utah in a sensational 7-game series. The duo of Olajuwon and Yao Ming proved too much down low, and the Rockets' balance with Calvin Murphy running the show at the point proved too much for the Jazz's triple threat of Malone, Stockton, and Dantley. The conference finals tip off tomorrow night as the LSUBF is down to its Final Four. Another Final Four is now down to its Final 2, as in the Legends Sports Universe Boxing Federation, the junior lightweight title fight is set, following semifinal victories by Diego Corrales and Marcelino Freitas. Corrales earned a tight majority decision win over the top seed, Steve "Kid" Sullivan, 115-113, 115-113, 114-114, to punch his ticket in a bout that could certainly have gone either way. I had Sullivan by the 115-113 score on my card, which of course, as I've mentioned, is completely irrelevant. Corrales gets Freitas for the title. Freitas survived a second-round knockdown before seizing control in overcoming a game effort by the always entertaining Cornelius Boza Edwards and earning a wide unanimous decision win, 117-110, on all 3 cards. Corrales and Freitas met in real life, of course, in 2004, though their meeting occurred at lightweight rather than junior lightweight. In fact, Corrales forfeited his junior lightweight title at the time to move up to lightweight and pursue Freitas' WBO title. Freitas was ahead in the bout when Corrales dropped him in the 8th round. Corrales would repeat the feat in the 9th and again in the 10th, the last time resulting in Freitas rising but refusing to continue in a modern-day no-mas moment and giving Corrales the TKO win and the lightweight championship. What will happen when they meet for the LSUBF junior lightweight crown? Time will tell. That fight, though it was dramatic, doesn't constitute our drama in real life segment in this episode of Stuff of Legends. That spot is reserved for us to get our kicks, or kickers, this week drawing upon the reference of Legends Bowl 2. Sam Baker's 40-yard miss in the waning seconds was a crushing blow for the Eagles, who had fought so hard to claw their way back from the 17-0 deficit. Baker had the opportunity to join a long list of kickers with huge, make that giant takes in some of the biggest moments in football history. The NFC Championship game has seen a few big kicker moments. Heck, the Giants have done it 3 times. In 1990, Matt Barr would come on after a Roger Craig fumble and slip a 42-yard field goal inside the left upright to end the 49ers' hope for a three-peat and send the Giants to their second Super Bowl, which we'll get back to. In 2007, the Giants would do it again, this time with Lawrence Tynes, who would miss a 36-yard game winner attempt with 4 seconds left, but gets a redemption crack in overtime as the underdogs in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Corey Webster would pick off Brett Favre, and Tynes would hit from 47 yards out to send the Giants back to the Super Bowl, where they would beat the unbeaten Patriots for the championship. In 2012, Tynes hit from 31 yards out in overtime again, as the Giants once again took down the 49ers to punch their ticket to the Super Bowl, where they would, again, defeat the Patriots. Those Patriots, of course, did it not in the conference championship game, but in the Super Bowl, twice. Adam Vinatieri, from 48 yards out as time expired, would give the Patriots a 20-17 win in Super Bowl 36 that would begin the New England dynasty with a victory over the Rams. 2 years later, he'd do it again. Following a miss and a blocked kick earlier in the game, he'd get a crack at redemption and cash in with the 41-yard game winner with 4 seconds left to give New England a 32-29 win and its second Super Bowl in 3 years. Sure, there have been big misses too. 1998, Gary Anderson in the NFC Championship game for the 15-1 Minnesota Vikings, the most potent offense in NFL history to that point. Anderson hadn't missed a kick all season. He had been perfect. But his shot at icing the game with 2 minutes left missed the mark as his 38-yarder went wide. The Falcons would march down the field to tie it, then win it in overtime, depriving the Vikings of what had been assumed to be their Super Bowl destiny. A better parallel for the Baker miss in Legends Bowl may be the 2011 AFC Championship game, when Billy Cundiff hooked a 32-yard game-tying field goal attempt for the Ravens against the Patriots with 11 seconds left. Cundiff 16 for 16 over the past 2 seasons in the fourth quarter, missed the kick, sending the Patriots to Super Bowl 46, where they would fall to the Giants, who advanced on the Tynes kick mentioned earlier. But when it comes to Super Bowls, there's only one parallel to Baker's Legends Bowl 2 disaster: Scott Norwood. Yes, the only truly similar occurrence to Baker's miss in the Legends Bowl loss to the Bills involved the Bills' most crushing loss in history. Super Bowl 25, down a point, 8 seconds left, 47 yards, wide, right. The Giants would go on to win the Super Bowl 20-19. Norwood would post the lowest field goal percentage of his career the following season and be out of football after that, his career over at age 31. Baker wouldn't even become the Eagles' kicker until he was 35 years old in 1964. He would kick for Philly through the 1969 season, earning 2 Pro Bowl nods in 64 and 1968. From 40 to 49 yards during that time, Baker made 40% of his kicks. So his Legends Bowl miss perhaps shouldn't have been surprising, which makes it no less tragic, especially in Philadelphia. With football having concluded for year 2, and on the heels of last week's podcast discussion of using AI to generate front office logic, I wanted to do a quick walkthrough in Shop Talk of how I handle the actual drafts in the Legend Sports universe and a recent adjustment to my process that ties in with the AI utilization. As previously discussed, the Legend Sports Universe projects are rooted in each franchise having a large master pool of its top players established. after which a random generator assigns which players begin a project with each franchise. The remaining players in the pool will enter eventually through the annual rookie drafts. Traditionally, I have run this in a very straightforward fashion. If the in game AI has a team draft, say a first baseman, then the first baseman in that team's pool assigned the next highest random number would join the team. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's simple, it's functional, and it sticks with the random format by which the initial rosters were drawn. But as I am always doing with my projects, I like thinking of how I can make things better. And this seemed like an area in which I could add some nuance. It's slight, but it creates, I believe, a bit more impactful draft in terms of first round picks in particular. Let's look at the Chicago Bears, whose offense has been abysmal through the first 2 years of the LSUFL. A huge part of that has been their lack of a good quarterback, something that has plagued the Bears throughout their history. You'll see here the random numbers assigned to each QB, which is how they drew Bobby Douglas and Bob Avellini as their initial tandem. I've already run the Bears through the draft logic protocol here for this upcoming offseason. Same protocol I outlined here last week in the AI discussion, so I won't revisit all of that here. But the result of that protocol has the Bears selecting a quarterback with their first round pick. Traditionally, this would mean the next man up, the third highest random number on the list, which would fall to Mitchell Trubisky. But under the new approach, potential draft pools are now the next 5 random number players on the list to coincide with the 5 rounds in the draft. And then they're ordered not by random number, but by their football reference approximate value. So what that means is if they took a QB in round 5, it would be the fifth or lowest AV of the 5 guys available in the pool. In this case, Eric Kramer. But because the Bears are taking a quarterback in the first round, they will instead land the top remaining guy of the 5 in the pool, the number 2 quarterback overall on their AV list, Jim McMahon, who is the highest ranked of the 5 eligible players. Jay Cutler, who is the top ranked Bears QB in AV over their history, drew the lowest random number of the quarterback, so he's not in the next 5 in the random number list, so he doesn't qualify for this draft. Goal here is to maximize the likelihood that a franchise adds at least one impact player each draft. It's still largely random, but not completely random, and as such, it has a bit more logic to it, which is always a good thing. If we bring this into the baseball draft, it will use the same logic. Let's look at our friend Beatles Eternally's Pittsburgh Pirates, who have yet to add most of their big bats. They've gone through 4 of the 8 shortstops in their master pool already, and are still looking for someone to lock down the position. If the Pirates were to draft a shortstop at any point in the next draft, by the old measure, they'd end up with Dick Groat, the next man in line as the 5th highest random number among the position pool. But with the new approach, if the Pirates draft a shortstop in the 3rd round, then yes, it would be Groat. But if they pick a shortstop in the 1st round, it will be Honus Wagner. In the 2nd round, it will be Archie Vaughn. 4th round, it would be Dick Schofield Sr. So you're more likely to get a player of commensurate quality relative to where that position is prioritized in the draft, which should make for more realistic drafts in terms of impact each season going forward. With the rookie draft in June of year 5 of the Legend Sports Universe Baseball League already having been completed, that logic won't make its way into the baseball draft until next season. But next year, baseball's logic will operate in the same fashion. Coming up this week on the channel, the Legend Sports Universe Basketball Association Conference Finals tip-off, and after posting only the potential clinchers through the first 2 rounds, we'll broadcast all Conference Finals games live on the channel, starting Monday night, with the Celtics and Hawks tipping off at 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Rockets and Lakers at 10 p.m. Game 2s will flip times Tuesday night, with the Lakers and Rockets at 8 and the Celtics and Hawks at 10. I'll post the remainder of the week's schedule in the next day or so. Legend Sports Universe Baseball League action picks up as well in mid-June of Year 5. I'll be calling those games live, tentatively late Saturday and Sunday night, starting with the Mets-Phillies in a National League East matchup Saturday night as Tom Seaver and Grover Cleveland Alexander lock up from Citizens Bank Park, followed by the Rockets' first appearance on the channel in his rookie campaign as Roger Clemens and the Red Sox host the Blue Jays from Fenway on Sunday night. There will be more baseball during the week, likely in the lunchtime slot, with games to be determined. The Legend Sports Universe Boxing Federation will move on as well, with the lightweight semifinals on tap, as Roberto Duran faces Edwin Rosario and Henry Armstrong faces Freddie Welsh to see who will fight for the lightweight title. And hopefully, I'll get to the junior welterweight bracket as well, which will see top seed Wilfred Benitez face Miguel Cotto and the defensive wizardry of Nicolino Loche battle Zab Judah. And of course, next Friday, we'll have the next episode of this Stuff of Legends podcast. Went long the past few weeks. We're actually going to come up a little bit short of a half hour in this one, but that's all right. We'll even no fat in these broadcasts, just content. As always, I greatly appreciate your time and support of the Legend Sports Universe projects and this podcast. Please take care of yourselves, be good to each other, and we'll talk soon. See you during the week and next Friday for the next episode of Stuff of Legends.